Hi, hello, happy Sabbath and Shabbat Shalom. Now it seems like you'd be like, oh man, look, that's terrible. My potatoes are dying. Well, I'm pretty sure actually what happened is they've pretty much come to the end of their cycle. They've made enough tubers, they feel like they've lived long enough to make babies, and they've decided to give up on life because, well, potentially that, or it's the fact that it's coming into summer and it's just getting too hot for potatoes in here, which could be the case. Now, as far as everything else in here, no, everything else seems to be pretty happy. Even my new growth on that old avocado that's 11 or 12 years old now. So for the most part, there is one avocado that seems to have died on me recently, and that cactus seems to have died on me, although Mom put a wandering Jew in there which fills up some space. She's got seeds that are sprouting or look like they're sprouting. Everything else in here seems to be alright. Like she said, she tried to repot some of the geranium. I'm not for sure if that's what she said. I don't know if she's been watering her stuff enough. I'm leaving her watering of her plants up to her, but she went and got some squash, and they look terrible already. They look like they're going to die any minute, and she hasn't taken them outside or anything, so, well, if they die, it ain't my fault. I told her they should go outside. In fact, this right here, I think was a squash. Whatever it was, it's dead now. So, on the other hand, over here, she's been repotting some of these aloe veras. So, and she's been trying to get organized with little baby wandering Jews and trying to get them potted somewhere, I think. Well, she was fooling with them one day, so I don't know if she did anything more or not. Anyhow, so that's pretty much everything in here. Out here, the babies are still in their pan. Unfortunately, they're not out yet, which hopefully they will be soon. Now, in the meantime, I did do something this week. Come on, turn on the light. There we go. The old, I knew it would fail. It was made out of sawdust board. The old, what do you call that thing? Well, I call it a cabinet. Desk that was in here finally collapsed. I got myself some cement blocks and 3 pieces of 3/4 inch plywood and put them together there. And that should hold up for the time being as my new feed bag support. Again, all it does is keep them out of the water, make them where they're easy to reach, easy to handle to put in that container until I feed them. Hopefully someday I'll have a silo and it'll no longer matter. We got some good rain today, and you can see it filled in here. You can tell by the clean spot where it's washed in. That's the old desk, what's left of it. Let's go on out here and we'll work our way around. Try to close this gate behind myself. I don't know that what I'm showing over here will look that much different than it did last time. Of course, my dock is going to seed, which technically, when it's healthy, there's a little frog. Little frog. There's a frog. Yeah. Anyhow, dock is going to seed, which I'll harvest and hopefully repropagate a bunch of it, and then hopefully some of the leaves of some of them I will go ahead and make into can them into edible greens for enjoying later on. Not necessarily winter or summer months, but just whenever. So yeah, see, there's some bright happy dock there that doesn't have any seeds on it, but look how big the leaves are. That'll make some good eating. Babies, what you doing? Yes. Snippy, Snap, and Goldilocks, what you doing? Yes. There's some dock that's in there. It's literally rotting because it's buried in water. It's too much moisture. And more dock there. My mystery greens over here. Look how much red clover is in here. I tried planting red clover here a long time ago, and it seemed to have died completely out, but apparently some seeds survived, and so there's still some red clover. This mystery vegetable, again, I call it a mustard-like plant because I don't know what else to call it. Really, really rich and vibrant. It's just filling that cage up. I'm going to get a bigger cage for it eventually as I work on the fence, which I took a bunch of stuff down here, and I haven't gotten any further than bringing materials down here for the fence work. So the fence hasn't been worked on any since I nailed up that corner where the ladder's at. Got a lot of work to do. I did spray up here all that Perilla and everything. I sprayed a lot of this area with weed poison, and hopefully it will kill that stuff off, since it's very hazardous to the goats. If they eat much of it, it can kill them. It's Perilla mint. It's a mint, but it's a poisonous mint in the sense that it will kill them if they eat it. They'll get interstitial pneumonia. This area, I still haven't picked up my fencing material yet. The dock is over there growing in it. Considering the fact that I did nothing to raise the dock this year because of the rain, I've got a lot of it. And I know people, it's bitter dock. Well, so what? You cook it, you cook the bitter out of it. Makes a good hearty green, as much as many other plants that are bitter when they're green, or hot and pungent or whatever. By the time you're done cooking it, it's very mild. It's no longer pungent and harsh. Poke in here, of course. You put a bunch of goats in there, even the poke will get eaten probably. If not, that's fine, because I eat poke. Mom and I will eat poke. The only reason I didn't pick any this year is because of the fact that I just ain't in position right now to handle processing it. The other mystery greens, there's one right there. And it's doing pretty good. They've eaten some of them. Doc trampled some of it. Been feeding the boys over here in this pen. They keep knocking the lid off. I keep meaning to around to putting the clamp on the lid, but haven't done it yet. So now I'm just shuffling the lid around. There's another one of them greens. They trample it, but haven't killed it yet. I'm pretty sure that's a form of nightshade, but I'm not sure if it's supposed to be deadly nightshade or what. All this beautiful Bermuda grass here. You'd have never known there were all that great Bermuda grass if it hadn't been for so much time with nobody on this field. More dock. They've eaten this dock quite a bit down, but they've left the seeds, which works for me. Again, a couple years ago, this was just bare dirt, period. Anybody that's seen any of my other diary reports knows that there was a point where there was nothing but dirt and rock here. Not much grass here yet, but on the overall, there's a lot more this year. Between not having it covered in goats and having it with a lot of good rain. We've never gotten this much rain here before, ever, since I've been here. It shows. I think I mentioned before that the main gentian got plucked off to the stump. Somebody this past Sabbath, after I made my Sabbath report, because I made Sabbath report last week in the morning, and after that, this tree that used to grow over in an arch here got hit by a vehicle, knocked over. That's where those branches are from. I cropped them off so the goats could still eat them, so it won't go to waste. And I dragged the trunk downstairs. It won't go to waste either. I'll do something with it. It'll get used. Over here, that branch got blown over or dragged over by the boys. It wasn't over here before. These cucumbers are growing like weeds, but they're happy. Somewhere in here, there's another baby cucumber right there. There's a one I couldn't find the other day. And then there's another one right here. So they're finally picking up and producing some. This basil's just happy as can be. I can't think of what they're called all of a sudden. Citronella are doing better now that they're out of those little pots. The pepper plants are struggling because they're in the shade. Tomato plants are doing fair. Hopefully they'll pollinate and make some fruit. After all, what good is a tomato plant without tomatoes, right? I put more soil on my outdoor spuds. Now, one reason they're still green is A, they're younger as far as how long they've been above ground, and B, it's been cooler out here proportionally, and C, they get steadier water instead of intermittent water, and D, they've got more nutrients. So, on the other hand, over here, under this cute mint here, which I don't know what it's called, but it's a mint. The ground cherries. Usually the goats eat the ground cherries before they get this far. But the boys have been just trampling them on them and ignoring them, while over here destroying these poor little tiger lilies. Tiger lilies will survive and be back next year. Hopefully by next year I'll have the boys in the field, or the pen, where they won't be out here destroying the lilies. The grapevine, of course, up here did nothing, but the other grapes down there have pretty considerably, like 1/8 to 3/16 of an inch size fruit on them, and quite a few fruit. So it'll make quite a bit this year, numerically, even if not volumetrically. Let's go over here and look at these two tomato plants since they're here. Now, this one was looking pretty shriveled up, but it's looking a little better since we had a little bit of rain. Still, Mom hasn't put anything in these pots here yet, but she theoretically will someday, maybe, who knows. Hard to say. The raspberries have fully finished fruiting for the year. They're done. They're putting on next year's stems, next year's canes. These blackberries haven't ripened yet. They will soon. It won't have a lot. It's an old plant though, so I don't expect much of it. When I say it's old plant, it's every bit of 30 years old. I don't know what the time limit on lifespan of a blackberry is, but 30 years is pretty impressive. Can't really get a good shot of the mimosa from underneath it. You see the boys up here tearing up all the trees, eating them off. They literally tear the trees up. Over here, the Rose of Sharon is flowering, but only higher than they can reach the buds, because they eat the buds, blossoms off of it. And you can see they've mangled some of these branches and stuff. They chew on them and tear them up pretty good. They've done more damage to other places, which you'll see here momentarily. I see Mr. O'Malley way out there at the edge of the property. He's technically not on our property, but he's close enough. I'm not going to have a fit. He ain't going too far. Alright. At first glance, it looked like the peach tree was dead. Well, I don't know that it's out of the woods yet. It may die, but what happened was they ate the top off of it. And where they ate the top off of it, it started dying back quite suddenly. So I cropped it off at the ground level, hopes that what's left here will live long enough to not. And it still is losing leaves, so it may yet die. I don't know. And apparently, it's possible it got infected by something that they were carrying. What goes in their mouth, some of it stays in their mouth, such as bacteria and viruses could kill plants. Now over here, you know how obvious it is that they've physically busted a bunch of these branches here. They've literally busted these branches, just snapped them off. So I've got to come back in here and prune a bunch of them back, clean them off, and they'll probably do some more destruction, but for the most part, I'm just going to clean that off, and hopefully that'll keep them from being too excited to try to climb the tree anymore. The apples are really putting on some size, what few it has. I don't know that it'll have a lot, it won't have a lot, but the few it has are doing pretty good. Now they say you should thin your apples anyhow. Well, they've been thinned, partly by the goats and partly just by the fact it didn't pollinate that many this year. So, you know, kind of one of them deals. Now, I didn't do anything at the shop, so no reason to go in there. Even if there's water in the shop, it's no big deal. It's something that happens all the time. They eat off of this thing now and then. These, but they keep growing back, so thankfully they haven't wiped them out yet. The last thing I'm going to look at today is just that blackberry plant that I put in there a week or two ago. It was like 2 weeks ago, I think, maybe. I've already forgotten when I put it in there. But not a long time ago. But the fact that it instantly put on new growth, just like practically overnight, after I put it in this ground with some nutriments, shows that it was starving for more good nutrients. And so putting it in the ground over here did it a good turn. The tiger lily that was with it, unfortunately, seems to have died. Whether it's because it got chewed off, got infected, or suffered transplant shock, or anything. The tiger lily shriveled right up, turned brown, and is, shall I say, no longer with us. It does look like the boys came along and bit the top off, or the deer did. Something bit the top off. The new growth that it had right here got bitten off. However, it's got more new growth right here. So, I should probably cage the thing up. So the tiger lily's dead. And those growths there are not the tiger lily. So that's putting on new growth. That's last year, or this is the second year stem. This is the first year stem. I'm gonna have to get out here and cage this for now, since apparently something felt that its tender leaves were edible. And so I can't have that. My erosion resistance here, still sort of here. It needs a lot more work done, but there's some of it. I need to get in here and help fix this road here. Eventually, I got my machines running too. It's mostly for my neighbors, but I care about my people, I guess. They don't know me. I care about them anyhow. That's fine. What I was going to come down here to show you was that one garlic. I'm going to try to cultivate that garlic. Oh yeah, I just remembered also. So there's the tree trunk that I dragged out that they hit. Most of that scraping is where they slammed into it with whatever they were driving. Not very smart. They didn't stop for it. They just plowed right through it. left it there, and I dragged it off the way. Now where the upstairs, you might remember the coneflowers, the echinacea were looking terrible. Down here, they're looking quite lively. Down here, they're a lot brighter and healthier. I don't know if it's the water, the minerals, or both. Some of them are just really, really rich and vibrant and colorful. It doesn't look as bright on the camera actually as it does in real life as far as dark. It looks bright, like reflective, on a cloudy day. They're very healthy looking. I guess the light on the camera isn't adjusted properly, or exposure to show it a true color the way my eye sees it. Or maybe my eye doesn't see true color. Hard to say. I see ultraviolet light, so it may look different to my eyes than it does to other people's. I used to think that was a superpower before I found out it was a birth defect. Although I guess I still think it's a superpower in its own way. Something plowed through the middle of my garlic plant that I was going to show you all. I say plowed through it, it looks like it did. Anyhow, so there's a bunch of new babies that I need to make certain I take care of. Lean them up that way so they get a little bit more time vertical. But that nice big healthy garlic bulb there is bigger than any garlic that I've ever had here on the property before. My theory is I'm going to flatten this all out a whole bunch, and then I'm going to take and sift out some of the rock and put the cloves from that and then these seeds all up in there in rows so that it can grow in and hopefully do just as well as the parent did. The boys were in here, I'm pretty sure, because a lot of these trees have had their tops bitten off recently. They probably just plowed right through here, being massive destruction machines like they are. And I can't fault them, they're goats, and they're big goats at that. Although I wish I had bigger goats. After all, the bigger they are, the more meat they have on them. But yeah, that's all I'm going to report on this week. They've been biting off they come plowing through here and flattening the grass, looking for what's tender and tasty, and leave the rest. But I'm going to go ahead and sign off here and say, happy Sabbath and Shabbat Shalom again. And until next week, we'll give you another report then. Bye now.